at the end of the day, I have a decision to make because we have free will. Am I going to succumb to this and just say, forget it, I give up? Or am I going to say, there is a lesson in here and there's a blessing in here? And I am going to learn from the lesson and take the blessing and keep it moving. Welcome to this week's episode of the Rutledge Perspective Podcast. And I am all gussied up and flashy because this is the 200th episode of the podcast. And it took a few weeks for me to do this one. I had one idea and then I had another. And then I decided, you know what? I just want to keep it simple. And so here we are. And for this episode, we're going to be talking about how, yes, sometimes rejection is protection. It can also be redirection. And I've got a few things towards the end of the podcast that I'll be talking to you about that we're redirecting for the Rutledge perspective. But in the meantime, let's talk about this topic. Sometimes rejection is protection and redirection. So if you listen to my live on Instagram a couple of weeks ago, I was supposed to be in Puerto Rico for a conference. And this conference cost me a mint to go to, but I was supposed to be in Puerto Rico for a conference. And it just so happened that the day I was going to fly out was the day that all of the craziness happened with weather across the country and in Texas. Well, in Texas, we don't do well with ice at all. It is not something that we get often enough to be able to really prepare for it. And even in our travel arena, which you would think they would have a little bit more preparation, it still ends up being quite a mess. And I've traveled a lot. And so I don't really have issues with there being challenges around weather delays. Like they're not fun and they can be irritating, but I don't tend to get my nerves all bad because there's nothing they can do about the weather. They can, however, do a better job of managing operations and processes and things like that. And I'll talk about that probably in a different episode because it was a great study in how not to manage an operation in a crisis mode. So I ended up spending the Monday that I was supposed to fly out because there was a mastermind I was attending on Tuesday and my graduation for this certification on Wednesday. I ended up spending Monday 14 hours in an airport in Houston. And the entire day ended up being a 23-hour day. And at the end of that, I was not in Puerto Rico. I had scheduled some brain dates or group sessions with people, and they'd filled up. So I actually ended up scheduling 2. I had an individual one-on-one with a couple of folks, and there were some people I really wanted to connect with in person. Now, for those of you who've been listening to the podcast for quite a while, I've said a lot. I'm pretty much an ambivert, right? I love just me time. I'm good with me, pretty introverted, but I am extroverted when I have to be or when it makes sense to be. And I had really geared myself up to be truly present and engaging at this conference. I was really excited to see these people that I'd gone through this long certification with. I was excited to meet some new people. I was excited to do the brain dates, just all of the things. And then I didn't get there. And I spent 2 days in bed, literally, dealing with the emotions of that, dealing with all of the head trash around, oh my gosh, there's got to be a reason. Lord, what is the reason that I couldn't make it? Well, Laurel, maybe you could have made it. Maybe you didn't try hard enough. You could have just tried to get out on the next flight. You could have kept going and going and going and trying and trying and trying. You just didn't try hard enough. And oh, by the way, maybe you haven't been trying hard enough in your business, or maybe you just don't really know how to do all the things you need to do. Y'all, the cycle was real, right? The death spiral started in earnest. And what did I do? I decided, one, to honor my emotions because I was really upset. And I even posted and said, I'm a little bit salty. I'm upset. I'm depressed. I'm angry. I'm irritated. I'm all of the things. And it's going to take me a minute, right, to get back. But I had to let people know I wasn't going to be there because they were expecting me to be there to do these brain dates. So that Tuesday, I was in bed most of the day. I rested. I watched TV. I cried. I prayed. I journaled. I did all of the things, just really trying to get some sense of why. And then on Wednesday, I said, okay, I'm still way in my emotions. And that's not going to get me much help to do something that I need to do next. Let me just spend a few more hours just really just pausing. Let me get this nervous system under control. Let me decide what it is I want, because yes, this thing happened. And yes, there were likely people I was really meant to meet and that I wanted to meet. And these brain dates that filled up, I was so excited about. And one conference does not make or break your business. One conference does not make or break relationships. So all of these narratives I was telling myself about, see, the couple of people you were going to meet at this conference that were really going to take you to the next level this year, now you miss that. See, that one session you were going to go to that was going to talk about some of the things around building your business without social media, because y'all know how I feel about social media. You missed that. And now you missed all the nuggets. See, that thing about retreats, you missed all of that. You missed everything that you needed to do this business in year 7. Now, the reality is, and the facts are, yes, I missed the conference. The way the weather was scheduled, or the way the weather happened, the way the planes were scheduled, the way my nervous system responded, just my ability with all of the things going on to handle that, those are the facts. The narrative that's not true is that not being at that conference is cratering my business for all of 2024. What's not true is that now I'm not going to have any more meetings, no more connections, none of that stuff that's going to make any difference in my business. All of those things, those narratives that my nervous system and my brain started connecting were just not true. And I had to give myself the grace to pause, honor the emotions, because you cannot make good decisions when you're emotional, right? Honor the emotions and then decide what I wanted to do. I mentioned to you guys quite a long time ago that I listened to a podcast with the former chairman of Lego. And he said, we have this fallacy that we have to believe it and then we act, right? We have to think and then act. He said exactly the opposite is true. You act in the way you want. You exhibit the behaviors that demonstrate what you want, and then it all comes together. And on Wednesday, I had to decide, you know what, Laurel? You've been doing so much travel. You were looking at all of this travel. You've got a client next week that you need to make sure you're prepared for. You are not going to let this client down just because you're in a funk this week. And you were with family last week, which was a blast. Y'all are going to see that interview soon. And you were traveling this week. So you had 3 weeks worth of travel, and you kept thinking to yourself, how am I going to get everything done that I really want to get done on the business? I've got some more strategy work I want to do. I've got some more alignment work I want to do. All of these things that need time. And I knew I wanted to be present at this conference. And so on Wednesday, when I started rethinking what was happening, I said, well, you know what? Yes, I took Tuesday. I'm taking Wednesday regroup. I am not going to let this entire week move without me having actually done something that works on my business, because I am truly bought in and ready and excited about continuing this business. This is year 7 of the business of LKR Group LLC and LaurelRutledge.com and the Rutledge Perspective. This is 7 years of the business. I'm beating many of the odds by just being here for 7 years. And I wasn't going to let one situation that really bothered me keep me from doing the things I know I need and want to do to serve, to live into my purpose. So I went back to those things that I've told all of you in my logo, right? Go back to your roots. Go back to those things that ground you. For me, the 4 are faith, family, friends, and health. And that health being big health, right? Physical, financial, emotional, psychological, all the things. Big H health. And I went back to those 4 grounding roots for me. And I said, your world is upside down right now. What can you do to regroup? And I got back out my journals. I went into my little prayer closet, and I just got really serious and connected to the source for me. What is it that you're trying to tell me, God? What are you trying to lead me to do? What is the message that I'm supposed to get in this? And how do I get more closely connected to my divine gifts, my divine purpose, and just surrender to the flow of what is happening right now? How do I process all of this stuff? Not my strength, but yours. Not my wisdom, but yours. Not my plan, but yours. And so for me, with the biggest of my four being that faith, I had to go back and sit in that strong, reading certain scriptures, listening to specific people, right? Looking at my meditations and journaling, really writing it down, getting all the emotion out and writing it down and saying, at the end of the day, I have a decision to make because we have free will. Am I going to succumb to this and just say, forget it, I give up? Or am I going to say, there is a lesson in here and there's a blessing in here? And I am going to learn from the lesson and take the blessing and keep it moving. So what does that mean for you? When we look at things that happen to us, that rejection, that job offer we didn't get, that promotion we didn't get, the client that said no, the fact that we keep putting ads out there, or we keep showing up at the gym and we're losing maybe half a pound, or we're trying to clean our house and it just seems to never get clean. All of the things that we really want to do that don't seem to happen for us. We don't win the pageant. We don't win the competition. We don't get selected for the event, or we don't win the pinch competition. That rejection is not a rejection of you and your character. That rejection is not a demonstration of your worth, because no one can pay you or give you as much as you're worth, because you are priceless, because you exist. What it means is whatever that thing was, it wasn't the time for you. And maybe it wasn't the thing for you. One of the shows or speeches that I listened to during this time was all about jealousy, right? And how we can reject the things that are meant for us by wanting the things that are meant for everyone else. And when we're jealous of what someone else has, it blocks our blessings for what we have. We can't see what's meant for us because we're so looking at what everybody else has. In this day of social media, that is so easy to feel the rejection because we don't have 14 million followers. We don't have people coming to us saying, hey, will you represent my brand? We don't have people watching our videos or liking our posts, or all of the things that somehow have not now become synonymous with being wanted and desired and an expert. All of the things that say you are it, becoming the it girl, the it guy, the it person. We feel rejected because the things that society is telling us gives us a measure of our worth and a measure of our value aren't happening. That thing that you want so bad, someone else got. Well, in this same speech that I was watching, the person said, but here's the thing. The gifts that they got were meant for them. And now that they've got them, you can make room for the gifts that are meant for you. I said on the radio show a couple of times, we get so heavy around holding on tight to the things we have. Heaven forbid we lose it. But the tighter you hold on to those things that may be done, reason, season, or lifetime, right? It may be just time for that season to be up. The tighter you hold on to that, you don't make room for the thing that is truly meant for you. You've got to open your hands, open your mind, open your heart to what is meant for you. As you are building your career, you're in that organization, you're in that corporation. You didn't get that promotion. But watch the person who got the promotion. What happened, right? How did it go? But don't focus on what they got and you didn't get. Get focused on the skills you have and the value you're delivering, and notice around you the things that start coming to you that are putting you in a position to get the thing that was really meant for you, which is probably better than the thing you thought you wanted. It could be that something comes to you that's an offer to go do something else, somewhere else, or an even bigger promotion, or something that's a huge project that has global recognition that you never would have thought of because you were so focused on this one promotion and where you are. Letting go of the things that aren't meant for you, or understanding that the lesson that you've had through that hardship is actually giving you those battle scars that make you ready for the next thing. That's what keeps us moving. That's what makes us stronger. That's what makes us ready to deliver value in the areas that we are gifted to deliver value. Sitting in our own zones of genius, sitting in our own purpose, and sitting with gratitude in those things that are really, really difficult to swallow. It took me 2 days before I said, you know what, Lord, I'm just going to say thank you. Thank you for whatever it was that was moving that said you were not supposed to be there at that time. I got my points back. I actually got extra points because I did send a note to United and said, hey, not okay. The way this happened, no, right? So that was fine, right? I'm waiting to hear about how maybe I can use my ticket for next year so that I don't completely lose that value. And maybe it's next year that I'm supposed to be there. Maybe I wasn't supposed to meet Tabitha Brown this time, although I had Donna ready to go, right? Actually, my Katie ready to go. Maybe that rejection that you're feeling is a complete redirection to something that is truly meant for you. And it's going to show up and you're going to feel ease. You're going to feel energy. You're going to feel comfort, not necessarily no challenge, right? That you don't have to work for it, but that work is going to be so much easier. It's going to be more fluid. It's going to feel more natural. Sometimes that rejection is simple redirection. If it's a business and you didn't get that major client, pay attention over time. Was that really the client? Does it turn out that that's the client that you really needed or wanted? Did it turn out that it actually ended up not being aligned with what you wanted to do or where you were taking your business? That person you really wanted to hire, but something was like, and it took too long and you didn't make the offer and they had an offer somewhere else. And then you're all in your head about, oh my God, I can't believe we missed out on this great talent. Did you? Or did you make space for the talent that's supposed to be there with you, helping you build your business? Mindset is an awful, powerful thing. It is the foundation of everything we think we can do or think we cannot do. And as the saying goes, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So as you go into this week, think about those things that you are still holding on to because you really thought they were yours, or they should have been yours, or they could have been yours. And yes, evaluate. Did you do everything you could have done? Were you in the right place? Were you prepared? Were you really ready? Have that conversation with yourself, honestly, right? So that the next time the opportunity comes, because it will, the right opportunity will come around again, that the next time you're ready to seize it. You're ready to step forward. You're ready to claim that which is yours. But also in that evaluation, step back and say, did that just make room for what's really supposed to be mine? And give yourself some grace. Let yourself wallow and sit in bed and eat ice cream and do all the things. And then get up. Give your nervous system time to calm down and then get up. Get up and make a plan. Get up and decide how you're going to show up, where you're going to show up, when you're going to show up, and the impact that you want to make and what you are willing to do to make that happen. It's 4 simple questions. Who are you? Where are you? What do you want? And what is it going to take to get there? And so when your mind's all muddled and you're feeling like everything's against you and nothing's going to happen, pause. Who am I? Where am I? What do I want? And what is it going to take? And what am I willing to do to go get that thing? And in having the answer to those 4 questions, you allow lots of movement for flexibility and adaptability and responsiveness to the situation that comes at you. As I close out this 200th episode of the Rutledge Perspective, I want to give you encouragement to know you are where you are supposed to be and to own your genius, to own your brilliance, to know that you are here for a purpose and for a reason, and to not let all of that madness keep you down for too long, because someone out there is looking for you. Someone on your team needs you to show up because you are their inspiration. What you have is what they are striving for, and seeing you do it and get it and go through it gives them hope. There's always someone watching. So I encourage you to keep going, to give yourself that time to pause and regroup and wallow, but then get moving. You are needed. So a couple of things. One, if you are truly down in the depths of despair, and luckily I have an amazing therapist who I was kind of in contact with, because she was actually trying to get to the conference too. She was able to make it. If you're really in that depths of despair, talk to someone. And if it's really, really deep, 988, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, 988. You are not alone, ever. Never, ever, ever, ever. You are not alone. 988. Because the world is a better place with your being in it. So please seek help, seek guidance, seek support if you need it. Next, thank you. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in and downloading and sharing the Rutledge Perspective podcast. I had no idea when I started this in 2018 and then kind of petered off and got really serious in 2019 that I would be coming on 5 years of the podcast and 200 episodes of the podcast. Never in a million years would I would have thought of that. And I only got here because you supported this effort. You listened, you downloaded, you commented, you supported, you encouraged. And I am so eternally grateful for that support. I am truly thankful that you choose to spend some time in listening to me, because there are so many podcasts out there and there are amazing people out there, and we all have choices. And the fact that you choose to spend some of your time with me and help me get to 200 is just beyond amazing. And I will forever be in gratitude to all of you for that. And then finally, stay tuned. There are going to be some changes in year 5 coming to the Rutledge Perspective podcast. You'll still be seeing me weekly, but there's going to be some additional things that we're going to tweak. It is time for redirection, right? We're always evolving. And after 5 years, it's time to just do something a little bit different. And so it will still be downloading or new episodes on Wednesdays. So stay tuned for Wednesdays. It will still be coming out on Wednesdays on your favorite podcast platform. And on YouTube, the shorts will be out there, so you'll be able to get it, and on my website. So stay tuned. Every Wednesday, you'll still see the Rutledge Perspective podcast. But I will be announcing some big changes that are coming when we launch in March with some new episodes. So thank you again. Thank you for tuning in. If this made a lot of sense to you, if it moved you in some way, if it helped you, please pass it on. Get somebody else some of the excitement and help and support that they need. And if I can be of service to you, you can find me at laurelrutledge.com. Entrepreneurs, I am looking at you. If you are a woman business owner who is in a professional services business, agencies, CPA firms, those kind of things, professional services business, and you are at that precipice of team and strategy, you're still making all the decisions, you're trying to figure out why you spend all this money on a team, but you're still in everything, reach out to me. Go to laurelrutledge.com, work with me, that Founders Intensive, and you can get a link to sign up, and let's get on a call and see if there's a way I can help you get past that hump. And if you're looking for a coach, a business coach, a strategy coach, an organizational coach, we can also do that over 3 months. So feel free to reach out to me. You can find everything Laurel on laurelrutledge.com. You can connect to me on social through that, or you can find me on my social channels. But once again, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to serve. And thank you for allowing me to hit your ear every once in a while. Take care. Have a fantastic week. And I look forward to the next 200. Talk to you soon. We'll see you next week. Bye. You have been listening to the Rutledge Perspective podcast. Thank you so much for downloading and for connecting. You can find previous episodes of the podcast on my website at laurelrutledge.com/podcast. You can also find me on social media at Laurel K. Rutledge and/or The Rutledge Perspective. And I'd love your perspective on the things we talk about. And if there's a specific topic you want me to cover, just let me know. And please share this podcast with someone in your village who may need this little piece of perspective today. And if you're so inclined, I would really appreciate a 5-star rating and review on the platform of your choice. Apple Podcasts and Spotify reviews are particularly helpful. Thank you again for listening. Take care.